makes more sense that he's gonna be the face of the company in North America, right?
That's my same boat. Brad says the same thing. They think he thinks they're building new strong around him. That's what I think. As soon as this match was announced, because
Maybe
they didn't
just
clarify.
New Japan, North America, period.
Yeah,
I mean,
back when this match was announced, that's what I said. I was like, they're saying loser leaves Japan. They're not saying loser leaves New Japan. Even though Kevin Kelly tried to say it twice last night, he was like, loser has to leave New Japan. And I was like, nope, that's not the name of the match.
Nope.
That's not the stipulation. The stipulation is the loser leaves Japan. So I don't
he's pretty smart. He's probably doing that to get Chris
I think
to
he
be
is.
like,
Yeah, he's
no,
seen
Kevin.
it. Yeah, but I don't think. I don't think he's leaving New Japan. He may disappear for a little bit. But I think I agree. I think they're building the brand around him, which is smart. To build around somebody like Jay White.
He's got a ton of I love hating that guy, and he's such a good wrestler. He's so
Jay White's
good.
my favorite.
He is by far.
Jay is my and I watched his post-match stuff, and he is just so good. And that's what I was thinking. Like I was watching that, and I was listening to what he was saying, and just like the way he was looking into the camera. But I was just like, he's not going to be able to do that in WWE.
He's not going to read. You see that guy reading a script?
No,
the guy that was running around you see that guy like not touching the audience or whatever. We're talking about a guy who ran around and made like a whole freaking part of his gimmick and off of antagonizing the fact that the crowds couldn't make noise.
And then he leaves I love that kind of that little bit, like he leaves when the crowds can come back.
Yeah,
which is funny. Yeah, and so Brad said Jay is my number one heel right now.
I bet you when he gets here, he'll say that the reason that they let people cheer is because of him.
Yeah. Oh, of course. He will.
Because of that very match. That was the reason.
What I thought was interesting was he was talking to Gedo, and he was like, you can't come yet. I got to do this first. Because that's the thing. They pointed out during the match, Jay is Gedo's Mel ticket. What do they do with this? He turned his back on Okada for Jay White, and they went on this 4-year journey, which was incredible. But I don't think it ends like this. And I don't know what they do with Gedo, but I thought that was really interesting that they on Saturday at Battle of the Valley, he's still scheduled to face Eddie Kingston, and he talked to Eddie last night, and he cut a promo on Eddie and was saying he was coming for him. And so I'm really
he's not out of New Japan.
I do want to point out last night Eddie Kingston was supposed to wrestle Defy 6, but he did not. The way it was worded, it sounded like a potential injury, but I was reading some of the replies from other wrestlers, and they were saying get well. So I believe that Eddie was I guess he was not feeling well. Was not on the card last night, but it sounds like the match for Saturday is still on. So it doesn't sound like that's not happening, because Eddie quote tweeted Jay about him losing the match last night. So obviously, Eddie's going to play all into that. Yes. And Brad said he's interested to see what happens to the Bullet Club now. I am too, because because Bullet Club is everywhere. And they're in. Yeah. Brad says they had a horrible show last night. Is Jay going to be kicked out as the leader? They need a Japanese leader present. So I think Jay will come here to be the leader. He'll have ABC with him. KENTA, it's interesting to see. KENTA is kind of the wild card, because KENTA wrestles here. He wrestles in Impact. He wrestles occasionally in AEW. He's wrestled a few times there. But KENTA, I think KENTA could be the Japanese leader. I think that I think that's where unless they add another new member, which is possible, because they have 48 of them. It could definitely, and it was interesting because Jay was even saying last night, he was like, I told Bullet Club I needed to do this on my own, and so nobody was back there with him last night. It was just Gedo, and then he sent Gedo away, so it was just him. He was like, I came here alone. I was he was like, I did a lot of stuff on my own, and then I found my Bullet Club family. So to him, it still is very much a family, but he seems like he needs to be on. So I think he will lead the American side of things. But for me, the front runner for the Japanese side of things is KENTA. But I don't.
That would be a good choice, though.
I think, personally, I would.
Yeah, for Bullet Club.
Yeah.
he's kind of perfect.
Yeah, so I think because Kenta is probably, is he currently the longest tenured no, who else is, trying to think. Is Kenta the longest tenured now? No, that's not Jay White because obviously he kicked God out.
I don't know, because he came back at a weird time.
Yeah,
so
he
I
did
can't
come back, and he's
remember.
been there, but I think he was technically there longer than Ishii. Like, I don't see Ishimori being the leader.
No,
Like, I love Ishimori. He's great, but I don't. It's not time for him to
I
be.
feel like Kenta's older and he has more experience, and Ishimori's he's too pretty and not.
He is too pretty.
he's too pretty to be like the leader of Bullet Club. He's got too much going on. Like,
that's why I think. Yeah, I feel like Kenta is gonna be.
Kenta seems like, now that you're saying it, and I'm sitting here thinking about, like, that hardcore sort of strong style, old school, especially since, like, even Okada is leaning a little bit into that sort of, like, doing some kinds of matches that he hasn't done up till now with the, like, spirit of Antonio Inoki sort of theme to the whole thing that's going on between them and Noah. And
yeah. So Brad says only Ishimori is really left in Japan outside of House of Torture who are just not good.
Yeah.
Facts.
House of Torture.
Facts.
So
yes.
so named
Evil is
because
definitely
that's
not going
how
to
we
be.
feel.
Evil is definitely not going to be, like, I could see Evil trying to challenge Kenta, and maybe they have a match or some sort of thing like that. But no, Evil.
If they make Evil Bullet Club leader, I am out.
Kenta goes back and forth. ELP goes back and forth. Chaso and Fale aren't there much anymore. Yeah, and
maybe there's something we're missing.
Could be something we're missing. I mean, maybe they add another member. Maybe they add someone to be the leader.
Maybe someone from
maybe Jay sends somebody to.
I mean, maybe
he sends somebody, which then starts some stuff with Kenta, because Kenta is probably like, well, it's me. It's got
because he can't go to Japan anymore, but he could totally go, and like, he could send agents in his stead.
Oh, he could. He could.
He could be the mastermind behind Bullet Club on all continents.
He could.
And
that's what I don't think Jay's Jay's not done with New Japan. I don't
see it.
No, he's not.
He's allowed to wrestle the way he wants to wrestle and be the character he wants to be, and he's put in so much work, and he came up through their dojo system, and I just don't see. I don't see that being a thing. No. I mean, maybe he wants to, like, get some cash for a couple years and do that.
Well, but I think they're signing. Everybody has to sign 5-year deals now. So I think that was the thing that was going around, that they have to sign 5-year deals.
I wouldn't sign more than
I mean, maybe if it's somebody they want bad enough, they'll let them do like a 3-year deal or a 2-year deal. But I think that's
1 year with an option is the best you're getting out of me at this point in wrestling. There's too much going on.
I don't see Jay tying himself to WWE for 5 years. I mean, I could be very wrong. Maybe he wants the money and he wants to stay stateside, but he can stay stateside and they can build strong around him. Like, why would you not want to be? I mean, maybe obviously if he wants to do something different, but he's spent 4 years invested into this Switchblade. They've invested all of this into him. I just don't see him. And I saw some people saying that if he went to AEW, he would just be another wrestler, which is possible. But he's Jay White, and so it's hard to. He's hard to ignore.
Like, he could literally be the guy in North America for New Japan. Yeah. He could be like, where we think of New Japan, North America, we think Jay White and all the other, like, he could help build the North American brand. I mean, he has an opportunity, and the company definitely seems behind him. So
and he can still do Impact stuff, because obviously he did stuff with Impact last summer when he was doing the Summer of Jay. Obviously Ace and Chris are there with him. He did the Jay and Bait Connection when they teamed up. Like, they've done some stuff together. So I think
he's got matches that he hasn't had yet.
Yeah, Brad says he can be under New Japan contract and still show up in AEW when they need him. Exactly, and they could do.
He's had plenty of matches. Like, the one thing that you also don't. This is just another thing. Is like just a totally. I just thought of like you don't get to wrestle whoever you want to if you're in WWE.
Right. Yeah. You wrestle the same match 18
You
times.
wrestle who they tell you to wrestle, and you don't wrestle anybody else. There's matches
Right.
out there for Jay White to have that I'm sure that Jay White might even want as a wrestler that he could never have on
Right.
WWE. I mean, they're doing all that crossover stuff with the Noah guys, and those guys are good.
Yeah. Well,
There's
and then
some
you also
good
have like you have this
workers
stuff
over
with
there.
like Jay and Eddie. Like
Yep.
they have been kind of building the story for a while. I don't think this is going to be a one-off match with them on Saturday. This could be an interpromotional feud type of thing that leads to something else at Forbidden Door. Like I think that this is a feud that can go on for a while with them. And I know that they are not going to necessarily. I mean, there's the argument of a heel versus heel, but I mean, Eddie Kingston's not really a heel.
Eddie Kingston's I think even Dave or Garrett used the term tweener.